What? Yep. What is going on, everybody? So I got something special I want to do. Something I said I was never gonna do, but I decided to do it and bring it over here. Whew, y'all, bear with me now. If you can sometimes tell when I do something themes and I have the stuff to do it, you'll see something hinting at it in my background. As you can see, I got some some of my classic Marvel stuff you can see in my background. Um, so that's Luke Cage and Iron Fist back there, in case you didn't know. So what I want to do today, I hope y'all ready for this. We're gonna do a tier list. Now, these are my opinions, mine. You may say it's wrong. You may say it's weird. You may hate with everything I'm saying. Don't care. These are my opinions. If you want to come down to the comics and explain to me why you feel like, or tell me, hey, you right about that, or have a nice conversation in the comments about this, feel free to follow me on Twitter. You can it'll be talked about that too, probably. But this was inspired by someone I follow on Twitch. Link to their stream will be down in the description. I'm actually anxious to see what folks say about this because I have some opinions on some Marvel things. Um, with only not having watched one thing on this list, this is going to be fun. I ain't going. This is probably going to be a longer video. I'm gonna try to edit it down as best as I can. But this tier list is getting made today. I had said I was never gonna do this, but I'm doing one on the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Uh, this includes all the shows. Like, hold on, let's take a look at it. We got like all the Marvel shows: Ant Man and Wasp, Ant Man Avengers. None of the Netflix stuff is here, so it's only the the current stuff. Actually, it's two things I haven't watched to completion. So I'm gonna start with those two things first, and I'm gonna explain to y'all why I haven't watched them. For Werewolf by Night being the first one, there's no real reason. I just haven't watched it yet. I forgot it came out, and then I just haven't watched it yet. And What If? I saw the first episode, and I haven't seen anything else. I enjoyed the first episode. I just haven't sat down and watched it yet. That will be corrected soon. My dogs are doing something. All right. Oh man. So we're gonna start. We're gonna start with. I'm gonna start with a show, the most recent show, and that is She-Hulk. She-Hulk is good. It is very on brand for her. It is very. I want to do this so y'all can see me while I'm talking. It is very on brand for her to be the way she does to break the fourth wall. It showed like Daredevil in his. I want to say it's his Golden Age suit or his OG suit. It showed the character they picked for her was good. They even had the CGI look like her. The amount of stuff they had with Bruce was great. It wasn't like he was there all the time. They reprised actors from other stuff. Wong's involvement in it is amazing. Wong needs a show. Him and Madison. I also want to see Madison in the next Doctor Strange movie. It was a great show. A lot of people had an issue with her twerking. If you ever look up anything with She Hulk, I will tell you right now, it is very on brand for her to do everything she did. So I enjoyed that show. My wife enjoyed it. I can't wait for the next season. That was the wrong button. Next up, we're gonna do Hawkeye. I put Hawkeye better, bro. Hawkeye was better to me because it was one, it was a Christmas movie. It was a Christmas show. Two, it had Kingpin in it. Three, it was about a dad doing something which you don't see a lot of, which is the reason why like I like Bluey, the show Bluey. If you have children, you know what Bluey is. It highlights a dad doing something. It also highlights an Avenger passing the torch. It also highlights what happened after Endgame. A lot of stuff doesn't do that, and that is very important. Um, just Jeremy Renner, however you say his name, is as Hawkeye, being Hawkeye. Like he was in the first Avengers, he was kind of like, I'm a cool guy, and then now he's just like, I am tired of this shit, and I just want to be with my family. I am tired of this shit. I am tired of it. So hopefully that gets another season because I want to see more of Kate Bishop and how she develops into her tech and powers. Um, we're gonna talk about. I'm gonna do most of the shows. WandaVision. WandaVision was good to me because it introduced. It showed that Wanda was like a human. Like it showed that she was a human. Like she misses stuff, and it showed like a better part of depression. Like I lost something and I want it back. WandaVision was. It showed like other parts of Marvel that you don't see, like White Vision and Agatha and Rambo, which three characters that just in the comics, Agatha was just like she was there. She watched the kids grow, and every time she would leave the room, she would come back, and they would be a different age. She was like the babysitter, and that was like so cool that they added her into that, and they added that into the show. What made it really good to me was that WandaVision took nodes from like the centuries. It was like, oh, this era on TV, this era on TV, this era on TV. So it was like a show about shows. It was really good. And then it had plot and had other characters that weren't superheroes that were in the show, like Kat Dennings, the FBI agent. Like I can't remember his name, but that dude's an actor. Is amazing. Um, I enjoyed it. It was good. Would it made it better? Uh, if they would have, you know, would have made it better is if her children would have went the route that they were supposed to go. The ending was good. They didn't do enough of that. They didn't do enough with that for me in the future. But we're gonna get into that in a second. Loki is next. We gonna put Loki and better because Loki it's a buddy cop show. That's what it is. It is has all the makings of a buddy cop show. If you don't like a buddy cop show, then I don't know what to tell you. That's Loki is. It showed the most Easter eggs in a Marvel anything so far, in my opinion. Every Easter egg that I peeped, even Thanos' helicopter, because that's how Thanos dies in the comic books in the most bitches way possible. It was in Loki. That's what made Loki so much better as a show. It was a buddy cop show. That's what it was. It was two dudes who started off like, I don't really like you, but I gotta work with you. And it was just like, yeah, cool. All right. Foreshadowing for you guys. Spoiler alert: there might only be one thing going in the bad part. I already know what it is. We're gonna go to the next one. Like, I'm trying to decide. The next one should be. You know what? The next one. It's gonna be Moon Knight. Moon Knight is also. Moon Knight was great. Fight me on it. Moon Knight was great, and it wasn't just because it was filled with people of color and people who were indigenous to the area. It seemed like Loki. No, okay. Moon Knight was so great. I got still thinking about Loki. Moon Knight was so great because it showed Egyptian mythology. It showed it showed Easter eggs and spoilers within itself. It showed characters and character development. It had everything you wanted in a good anime and a live action show. It had everything you wanted in a book and a live action show. It had more of Moon Knight and his origin than it had more of Moon Knight in the comics. Like, Moon Knight was, it was so good. I can't wait for the next season. The voice acting, the powers, everything, the CGI, everything in Moon Knight to me was great. It was okay. Um, y'all know what time it is now. It's Falcon and Winter Soldier. A lot of people didn't like Falcon and Winter Soldier. A lot of people didn't like it. I thought it was good. It had nice comic relief. It had good stuff. It had two dudes who, when they first started together, they didn't like each other. They genuinely hated each other, and for good reason. Like, Bucky didn't like Sam. I don't want to say it's because Bucky was racist, but it might have been because Bucky was racist. And Sam didn't like Bucky because Bucky killed people. He killed a bunch of people. And Cap was just like, these are my two friends. And they were like, we're his friend. We're not each other's friend. We're his friend. And then Bucky went to Wakanda and he realized the darker the berry, the sweeter the juice. And he came back trying to talk to Sam's sister. And that to me, like, you see the development of Sam from a sidekick, legitimately from a sidekick to a hero. And they still question him and make him be like, you're not Captain America yet. Why the fuck not? I'm more Captain America than Captain America was. And then they showed an older Captain America, one of the first who took that serum, when it was like a time. It was also, he talked about a time where black people were taken and experimented on, and that was the result of Isaiah Bradley. That to be talked about in a Marvel anything. In the Marvel anything is amazing. The fact that you see two people who hate each other and we're like, we're Steve's friend, go to be like, my guy. And the fact that they give, like, people, even the villain gave Bucky shit about not liking Marvin Gaye was awesome to me. I didn't care about Zemo dancing. I'm glad he got taken to Wakanda. And the Dora Milaje just popping up and literally disarming Bucky. I loved it. It was a good show. Could have been better though. You know how. The reason, y'all see Whiskey Head in the back. Y'all see him. Anyway, the reason why it could have been better is if at the end Steve was there. Like, Isaiah was playing chess in the park, and Steve would have been there. That would have made that show way better to me. The next thing we gonna do is Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel was a great show, and I will explain to you why. As a parent, I'm a parent. I have children. As a parent, to watch a child grow into a person and to see them develop into their own person, the fact that Miss Marvel showed a child being like, hey, I'm my own person and I'm going to do my own thing and make my own ways, and for her to find comfort and solace in her background and bring it to her life is so great. Like, a lot of people didn't like it because it wasn't true to her nature, to her power. It was Miss Marvel. She fangirled a lot. If they would have made it better, like way better than great to me, is they would have put one Marvel hero in there, like one, like Hawkeye or anybody, just literally anybody. She would have saw them and fangirled out. That would have been great. And then the ending. Spoiler alerts if you haven't watched this. I might put a thing at the beginning. I'm gonna put a thing at the beginning. If you haven't watched any of these shows, I'm gonna be talking about spoiler stuff. When Carol pops up, that was like, oh, okay, that's got me ready for the next one. I'm ready for the next one. Yes. We're gonna get this one out the way. Black Widow. Let me zoom in so I can see that. Black Widow. Here it is. It's bad. Black Widow is bad. It is bad. It is not good. It is not great. It is not better. It is bad. The reason why it was bad, one, because of the time frame it took place in. It took place after Civil War. It should have been released after Civil War. I understand the reason why they didn't release it. I understand that 100%. But if that was the case, you should have rewrote it. You had the time. Y'all reshot a lot of scenes for that movie, and it should have took place after Endgame. It should have, well, Infinity War. The movie should have been about Natasha looking for her family. It could have kept all the stuff in the beginning about her learning about her family and her, like, she wanted to get away from Ross and everything like that after the stuff of Civil War. But it should have took place after, like, during the time of the funeral. She should have been looking for her family. And Black Widow, they could have introduced so many characters. They could have. They could have introduced Blade. They could have introduced Ms. Marvel. They could have introduced so many other characters if it would have took place during the time of Infinity War. Because Natasha would have went to no lengths looking for her sister, mother, and father. So the fact that they did it and they put it back in that timeline and then it ends with after Endgame, and it's like, y'all could have just put this in Infinity War and still had the same ending. Because the sister would have came back after Natasha would have been dead anyway and found out she died. That would have made sense on how she found Ronan. Because there ain't no way she was just like, oh, I'm just going to go randomly go find Hawkeye. And randomly found Hawkeye. Like, the fact that it would have happened during the Infinity War times would have been like, that's how she found Hawkeye. That's how she found Ronan. That's how all that would have transpired. That would have been great. Because you know she would have found Bruce and everything. That would have been legit. That's two. The second reason why it was bad, Taskmaster. The fact that Taskmaster sat there and held a hatred for her based off of mind control doesn't make sense. The fact that Taskmaster held a hatred for her because she hurt her would have been great. Because if a lot of people are upset that Taskmaster was a woman. Taskmaster is not a person. It's a costume. In any way, shape, or form, cartoon, comic book, Taskmaster gets their costume taken by the person who's going to take it. That's just how it is. Like it's like this. It's like the Sith trials. In order to become the next Sith Lord, you got to kill your predecessor. Yeah, that thing happens for Taskmaster. That's just how it is. So it just people being mad at Taskmaster woman was stupid. The fact that Taskmaster was mad because someone's mind controlling her, being her father, doesn't make sense. It's like, all right, I'm pissed because you hurt me. That makes sense. That's a valid reason to be pissed. Also, I would have been happy if Taskmaster was a super soldier that picked up Tony's helmet in the fight in Civil War and hated Tony and Cap for that. And the fact that in Civil War, when Tony was fighting Bucky and Cap and he was getting smoked, he was getting washed like pans, but he was recognizing patterns and learning how to adapt to that, that would make more sense. Because the Iron Man helmet looks like a skull. Like, I should have got up and got it. But the Iron Man helmet looks like a skull. So you can modify that helmet to look like that. And you can modify the AI in it to respond to you. So, and Tony got it knocked off his head. I'm pretty sure he left it there. So if it would have took place after Infinity War, it would have been great. It would explain a lot more during the thing. Like everything that happened. Because you know her dad wouldn't have got snapped away. You know it. Her mom, maybe. Her mom would have made, but her dad, nah. Her sister, yeah. The third thing that made it really, really bad was that she just kept doing stuff. Like, odds are always against her. She'd be like, I'm prevailing. It's like, what? No. Like, you're not prevailing off anything. You're not winning off anything. You're winning because it's written for you to win. It doesn't make sense. You should have had help the entire time. Black Widow, bad. We're going to talk about the one that is better than Black Widow that people hated on. Eternals. Eternals had a fight scene in there where old girl was fighting Icarus and she was moving at hyperspeed. Cold. Just that entire fight scene against Icarus was just amazing. It's just hold on, I have to respond. When they jumped Icarus, Angelina Jolie hit him with the weapons. Cold. Held him down with the tech. Like that entire fight scene was cold. Puck get knocked in the head with a rock, let you know like, oh, these are still regular motherfuckers. They can still get stabbed and killed like that. Selma Hayek's character, the fact that you see stuff happening, it's just like, oh my god. My biggest thing about, I'll talk about that at the end. I'm gonna talk about that at the end. I'm gonna talk about that at the end. It's just Eternals was such a good movie, and people gave it. A lot of people said Black Widow was better, and they are wrong. I don't care. I don't care. Voice your grievances in the comments. I don't care. Black Widow was so bad. People say Eternals was worse than Black Widow. You were wrong. Anyway, Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton was also good because you saw a side of the Hulk that did the show. Like when he kicked Abomination into a tree, and that was the reason why it led to him becoming Abomination. Was like, well, duh. Like everything about was like, well, duh. There's no there's no rhyme or reason how I'm doing this. I just realized I've been doing this so small. I like talking about it, so I might keep it like this. Anyway, that is just it's the side of a Hulk. You were just like, yeah, duh. He's going to destroy everything. That's what's going to happen. All right, so it's time to get to the ones that I'm gonna do these three in order. Thor 1. Thor 1 was good. It was Thor's origin story. It showed Heimdall. It showed the Bifrost. It showed everything you wanted it to show. It showed like Thor was like, I'm a god. And then he lost that ability. It introduced characters. It had shown some love interest. It had Kat Dennings. It was good. A lot of people don't like the Thor movies. I enjoy the Thor movies. Thor Dark World. It was all right. It could have been better. Just the dark elf shit, but it had like the Infinity Stones. It had like the Easter eggs in the two Thor movies. These two Thor movies were one of them was the Infinity Gauntlet. It was in the background. Like the Thor movies have mad Easter eggs. They like it shows you how stuff happens, how the cosmic shit happens, and how it makes sense. It had more stuff about Loki because you thought Loki was gone. It showed that Loki was a betrayer. It showed more like Loki. It showcased that man. And the second movie really was like, hey, Loki. And you just had to enjoy it. The Dark Elves thing that I didn't like about it. Mjolnir being called from anywhere reminded you that Millionaire, because they even said it in, what movie was that? Oh, they said it in Infinity War or Endgame. Mjolnir could be called from time and space. He just goes. Dark World was really good. It was darker than the first Thor movie. Ragnarok was better for comic reasons. It also had like Beta Ray Bill Easter egg on the tower. It had like Stan Lee being the barber who was from the planet that Scar is from. Hold on, let me do y'all right real quick. It introduced Hela and her hound. It showed how Mjolnir got destroyed. Ragnarok was a good movie. It was better than Dark World. That's why it's up there. It was better than the first one. And Thor Love and Thunder, I don't know what Thor movie y'all was watching when y'all said Thor Love and Thunder was good. The one I saw was fantastic. It was better than Ragnarok. It showed Thor go from Endgame, Infinity War, Fat Slob to a god. And Christian Bale in that movie. Wow. Oh my god, he did that so well. Show Zeus, which lets you know Hercules. But now that would have been my pick for Hercules, but that's just me. Um, it showed my biggest issue with Thor: Love and Thunder was Jane Foster came back, and they should have kept her ass gone because she said the movies were a joke and she wasn't gonna do them anymore, and they gave her a bunch of money. And she was like, "Hey guys, I'm back," and motherfuckers ate that up. That shit was stupid. That was my issue with it. Valkyrie, I love her. The ending, they should have showed Jane becoming Valkyrie, like helping Valkyrie bring the Valkyries back instead of her just going straight back to Asgard. Um, I enjoyed the movie. It was a lot better than a lot of people gave it credit for. The next one we're gonna do the ones the first one, Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack. Everything about the movie was great. My only issue with that, and I know it's because it's going to come in the future, was the Nova Corps. Like they even show Ronan being Ronan, being like, "Yo, I got the power. I don't need you. Fuck you. I am Ronan." Like that's just how Ronan was. He was once he got the taste of the power, he was like, "Oh, I'm better than all you motherfuckers. I'm better than every last one of you. Fuck all y'all, Ronan. That's me." So Guardians of the Galaxy 1 was a great movie. And it was great not just because of the soundtrack, because it showed the origins and the cohesiveness of them becoming the Guardians. I enjoyed that movie a lot. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is not bad, but it's not good. But it's better than bad, so we'll give it good. The reason why is because it was too much. Like they led on Guardians of the Galaxy 1, and it was just like Guardians of the Galaxy 2, everything plus more, and it was needed to be less. It did. It needed to be less. If it would have been more family oriented around them instead of waiting to the end and then being like, "We're a family," and Drax running with Mantis and Gamora and Nebula fighting, and like it should have been Rocket and Drax having a moment, Gamora and Groot having a moment, and Nebula and Star-Lord having a moment, and Mantis becoming a part of the family. They showed it as the parts that were together that you knew were going to be together. And that was just like, man, it could have been a better movie. Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi was a kung fu movie with magic. That's what it was. That's what made it so great. I should have changed these to good, great, awesome, but I didn't. That Shang-Chi was it was a kung fu movie. It had Wong and Abomination in there, which came back later in She-Hulk. It had actors and comedians in there who you didn't know was going to be in there. It also had like story and plot. It also had like references to other kung fu movies. Shang-Chi was it was a kung fu movie. That's what it was. With magic. And it was good. Like, people hated that movie, and I don't understand why. We're gonna go to Ant-Man 1. Ant-Man 1 was good, but it could have been better if it was Hank Pym's story. That's just it. It was a good movie. Showed a dad trying to become a dad, come off hard times, be a better person, and how society wouldn't let him be that way. It could have been a better movie if it was Hank Pym's story. Just like that. That's what made it such a good movie, because it wasn't like, I'm a superhero and I came from everything and I'm becoming better. It was like, I ain't got shit. I ain't gonna never be shit, so I'm gonna steal what I got to make my life better for my child. Also, the death of Anthony was sad, and I enjoyed Yellow Jacket. Also good, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Could have been better. Again, the ending was the thing that just like made it a good movie. Otherwise, this movie would have been bad. If it wasn't for the ending, this would have been bad. All right, soft fought for Nicole Kidman. That's just how this gonna go. But like the fact of showing the predecessor, the the homie, and I'm not gonna call him a sidekick. I'm gonna call him the homie, the friend to Hank Pym, who was Goliath. Great. Ghost, great. The original Wasp, great. The fact that they were on the run for the entire movie, weird. I feel like Hank Pym could have easily like dodged that because Hank Pym is rich, as rich, if not richer. I'm gonna say a little bit less rich than Tony Stark. He made a particle. Like that's a scientific breakthrough. Uh, I'm getting through. Don't worry. We getting through them. We making it. We making it. This is going to be a thing. So the next one we're going to do, I'm going to start doing the single ones, and then go back. So we're going to start with Black Panther, which is a great movie. Believe it or not, people did not like Black Panther. Well, I mean my people, I mean black people did not like Black Panther. I know black people that don't like Black Panther. I think the movie's fantastic. The soundtrack was ass. Kendrick Lamar could have did better on that soundtrack. I don't debate that shit all you want to. Okoye, amazing. You ain't gonna hear me say this a lot because I don't know. You just don't. Angela Bassett in that movie, crazy good. M'Baku's portrayal in that, I fucking love. Because of this movie, I fucking love M'Baku. The fact that the Jabari tribe got the shine they did, like if you don't, quick fact about the Jabari tribe, they were on the side closest to the coast when the Europeans came to Africa to harvest slaves. Most of the slaves taken from Africa in Marvel mythology are Jabari tribesmen. Okay, next. It's such a good movie. Chadwick is his thing, and a lot of people say a lot of good stuff about actors after they pass. This is not one of those times. It's one of those times where Chadwick did his thing in this movie. He played Jackie Robinson. He played what's his name? James Brown. Great movies. Great movies. 24 Bridges. It's all right. Black Panther. I love this movie. I love this movie. Every time it comes on TV, I think I own Black Panther twice. I own it 4K and I own it Blu-ray. I love this movie. The fights, great. Michael B. Jordan in the movie, great. Claw, wish he wouldn't have died. That could have been come back later in the future, but hey, I'll take what I can get. Shuri, as a character, great. As a person, Black Panther is a great movie. We're gonna do. All right, so now everything else should be. No, okay, we got one more. It was good. Captain Marvel was good because my favorite Easter egg in the MCU was in Captain Marvel when Stan Lee's on the bus reading the script from Mallrats. I love the movie Mallrats. It shows how Nick Fury got the scratch. It also shows how the internet can influence movies, because that was the first time I've seen that shit happen. Because that's now how we got the scar, like canonically. It is now. It makes me sad. It makes me sad. So it was a good movie. It could have been better. Yeah. So let's go to the next one. We're gonna do Iron Man next. First, Iron Man was one of the better Marvel movies. Obadiah Stane, Terrence Howard said he's gonna be back for the next one. Robert Downey Jr. being a prick at first and then getting captured and building the Iron Man suit. Love that. I love it all. I love it all. Everything about it. It was great. We are getting down to the nitty of the gritty. It is happening. Next one is Iron Man 2. Again, a better Marvel movie. The reason being it being a better Marvel movie, I think it's Iron Man 3. Hold on. I have to make sure. Avengers, Captain America, Civil War. Yep, that's 3. All right. I can't see these that well. You know what? I don't remember how the case for Iron Man 2 looks. We're going to call this one Iron Man 2 because it has Pepper Potts, Black Widow. Yeah. It showed like Tony becoming more of a person instead of a billionaire. Right? It shows him becoming better. Iron Man 3 should have had MODOK in it. Great movie. Would have had MODOK in it, would have been better. It's that simple. It's that simple. We're gonna do my favorite ones next. Spider-Man Homecoming. It was Iron Man 4. It was Iron Man 4 featuring Spider-Man, but it was a good origin story for him. Like you saw it in Civil War, and then you saw how it continued on. I like when movies go from movie and then they show like a part and it continues on from that exact part. It had characters in like Betty Brant, the first girl that ever called Peter Parker Tiger. It had MJ. It had so much in it. Like it was such a great movie. And then it even showed the throwback suit that resembled the Scarlet Spider suit. And Michael Keaton was in it. Michael Keaton was great. I have a soft spot for Michael Keaton too because he was Batman. Such a great movie. It really was. Also on that same scale, Far From Home, because it showed him of hold up. Back to Homecoming. Let's go back. Hold on. Back to Homecoming. I'm gonna pick it up. I'll put it right down. The scene when Peter is looking in the water and it's half his face and half the mask. One of my favorite scenes. It's one of my favorite scenes in the movie because that is so iconic to Peter Parker and Spider-Man in general. Every Spider-Man has that scene. Even Miles Morales has it. Ben has it. Even Symbiote Spider-Man has it. It'll show like half his face. It's such an iconic scene. Far From Home was good because it showed the after effect of the death of Tony. Like right after it happened, it was like he was there and he was just like, everybody expected me to be something that I don't want to be. I want to be better. And then the scene where he was making the new suit and Happy was watching him, bruh, that hit me. I was like, that's so good because it made me think that the next thing that was coming was Parker Industries because I felt like Tony would have left that to him. Like Peter would have graduated and had gotten Parker and left. Like here's Stark Industries, and it also showed. It showed so much stuff. It showed him going from like, all right, I can't have the girl that I wanted at first, but I'm gonna have this girl who has been there for me. And it showed her being there for him in Homecoming, and he was just like, she's great. And also showed Ned, like Ned getting his groove back. I like that. Ned got his. Ned was like, hey, I ain't just a sidekick. I ain't just a dude in the chair. I get my groove on. I get bitches. They're like, I get bitches too. That was Ned right there, boy. And then it's a great movie. The reason is great not just because of all three Spider-Man coming together, not just because of the villains, essentially the forming of the Sinister Six, not just because it shows Norman going in on Spider-Man, like going in. It was also a great movie because it showed like him not having the Stark tech for like major parts of the Stark tech and being like, I'm still Spider-Man. The suit didn't make me. I don't need the suit. I'm still Spider-Man. And then Doctor Strange being in it and Wong being like, do what you got to do. I don't want to know about it. It like, but to get to Andrew Garfield being in that movie, who is Andrew Garfield Spider Man, definitely some of my favorite Spider Man movies. This Amazing Spider Man 2, the death of Gwen Stacy, the fact that they referenced that in this movie was like, oh my God. That scene in the Amazing Spider Man 2 was so good to me. Just that entire scene, him fighting Electro and playing NCP Spider was so good. Such a great, oh my God. No Way Home was such a good movie, and I can't wait for the next thing. The only thing that would have made No Way Home an amazing movie to me is if Miles Morales was in it, because Miles Morales is confirmed to be in the MCU. We know it from Homecoming. It makes sense for him to be there. If he was just there, it would have been great. I'd have been all over that. Speaking of Doctor Strange, let's get to his movies. Doctor Strange 1 was a better Marvel movie because it showed him being a hero, being humbled by himself, being like, I'm a dick, and being like, okay, now you're not. We are better than you in every way. Come to Comitage and we'll prove it to you. Like, the Doctor Strange movie was so good. It was such a good thing. The fact that it showed like his best friend saying like, bro, if you gonna do this shit without me, I'm gone. And you know he gonna become a villain. You know how you know you can become a villain? Because in Multiverse of Madness, which is a great movie, because it showed him being a villain. Like, he wasn't initially trying to be a villain. He was a villain because he was like, you not finna bring this shit to my front door and expect me not to do something about it. So you guys to go, dog. It showed what would have happened if Strange wouldn't have been like, and freaking Infinity, if he would just handle the shit himself, like, you know he could have. Also, the scene where Wanda was like, Reed was like, I'm the smartest man in the world. You last 10 seconds. And for her to destroy a voice, not just, you know what, take it back, the voice in the Marvel Universe, a man who kills people with his voice. The fact that those roles from all those actors, except for Reed Richards, were picked back up by characters who in alternate universe would have had them. The fact that they're Inhumans, the actor who played Black Bolt in the Inhumans show, which was a bad show, was Black Bolt in Multiverse of Madness, was great. The fact that Patrick Stewart was Professor Charles Xavier, great. Peggy Carter, like they got washed. The fact that my favorite thing about it is one of the Easter eggs in that movie was the statue they were fighting, and it's a woman, is Xena, warrior princess. That's the greatest fucking Easter egg, and it was the women holding it down at that point. That shit was amazing. Oh my God, fantastic movie. All right, y'all, we get down to the nitty gritty. We're going to start off, before we get even to that, we're going to go with the First Avenger. First Avenger was a better Marvel movie because it talked about a group of soldiers led by Captain America, because Captain America is, to some, a monster. The Howling Commandos. The Howling Commandos were Captain America's specific group of people that he picked to be like, y'all with me. Later in Marvel history, the Howling Commandos are a group of monsters, are a group of the monsters. I'm pretty sure they can't get the rights to them now because the Universal monsters, like the Mummy, Dracula, Wolfman, stuff like that, that patrol the night and fight the big supernatural threats. And Marvel, that's what the Howling Commandos are. They were introduced in there. Bucky's disappearance was introduced in there. Just Captain America getting his shield, talking about where his shield got from. The fact that Cap was just like, I'm going to save the world and forget what I want, forget me, in that movie was great. Wouldn't have been me. I wouldn't have did that. The next one we're going to do is, great movie, Winter Soldier. That fight scene with Captain Bucky, the introduction of Sam, the fact that you know that Hydra was there the whole time. That's what made that movie so great. It took what you know and turned it, like gave it a 180, like whoop. It did. That's what it did. That's what the movie was. It was like everything you know about everything Marvel so far. You know nothing. Civil War, great movie. Not because, mostly because of the cinematics, mostly because of the fights, but because it took fans and put them on two different sides. To this day, I know two dudes that will, in the middle of conversation, if they start talking about Civil War, they're gonna start beefing. It took fans of the MCU and moved them and separated them, and it started a whole thing. They can't do a Civil War 2 accurately to the comics now, but I'm pretty sure it's happening. Such a great movie because it not only did it show like it gave Tony the ambition to be like, all right, for my next one, for the next person I choose to come up to me to be my protege. That was my dog right there. He got to have everything to keep himself alive. And that's how Spider-Man got all stuff in his suit in Homecoming. Because when Rhodey hit the ground, he thought Rhodey was going to die. That is such a crucial thing because animated, comic book wise, Rhodey stopped being War Machine because something happened to him in the suit. What happened was the suit started shutting down, and in one instance, he was underwater. Rhodey almost drowned and died. When Rhodey does die, it's because the suit malfunctioned. Because he has an older version of the suit that he just never upgraded. Civil War, great movie. Great movie. The fact that T'Challa saw the man who killed his father and he didn't do what he initially thought about doing lets you know how great that is. Such a great movie. We're going to go to the last four. These are all Avengers movies. Y'all will feel this way about these. I'm telling you that right now. Avengers 1 was a good movie. Could have been better. It showed a friendly beef between two characters, Hulk and Thor. It showed Loki being a true villain, which he was. It showed so much, and it did it so well, and it started right where another movie ended. You couldn't ask for more, but it needed more. It also gave birth to like scenes from Hawkeye, scenes from Miss Marvel, like scenes from Spider-Man: Homecoming. You know what? Great movie because it did birth out a lot of this stuff in the MCU. My favorite freaking Avengers movie is Age of Ultron. I don't care what you say. Age of Ultron is my favorite Avengers movie. I watched that movie more than I watched probably any other Marvel movie ever. I watched more than I watched Black Panther. Age of Ultron had James Spader in it as Ultron. I wanted James Spader to be in WandaVision to pop up and the kids were like, Uncle Ultron. I would have lost my mind if that would have happened instead of Quicksilver popping up. I would have lost my mind. You just don't understand. It's such a good movie because it was, I think that's right when Disney acquired Marvel, so they had the Pinocchio reference at the beginning. It showed like what would happen if Tony would have did what he wanted to do, was put a suit of armor around the world. The only bad thing to me about Age of Ultron was Ultron was originally created by Hank Pym to protect Wasp. And the whole point of how Ultron knows he succeeds when he can kill Wasp. Ultron ultimately, in every aspect and form of media, is an animated, video game, comic book, whatever, he kills a member of the Avengers trying to kill Wasp. Like, that's just what he does. Because once he realizes, like, oh, I can kill her, that's how he knows he's become the best of the best. We got Infinity War. Y'all, I hope y'all ready for this one because Infinity War in my opinion, it was a good movie. It wasn't a great movie, but it was a better Marvel movie because it just was. Roxas. It, it just was. It was just like Infinity War was such a good movie because it showed what would happen. It kept going on with everything after Civil War. It's like you knew if one of the motherfuckers had just picked up the phone, everything could have been different. Infinity War was such a good movie because it showed what happens when the bad guy actually does get involved. And like Infinity War was such a good movie because it was just it showed what happened when people who don't know each other exist. Like how you know when you watching the Marvel movies, you're like, how is all this going in New York and nobody else is responding to it? That's what that movie showed what happens when they respond to it. Shit gets worse. That's exactly what happened. Shit got worse before it got better. It stayed worse for a long time when the bad guy wins. Infinity War and Age of Ultron are the only two Marvel movies ultimately where the bad guy wins. Because Ultron did exactly what he wanted to do, and Thanos did exactly what he said he was going to do. And the fact that the reason why this became a better movie was because it gave birth to the Eternals. And then you got Endgame, which was a great movie. Because other than the death of Tony Stark and the time travel stuff, the my least favorite thing about Endgame was the fact of Captain America went back in time, and then they just left it as that. Like, no, fuck that. Talk about it. I want to know what Cap, because, all right, it started off the Ultimate Timeline with gave birth to Loki. Cool, I'm cool with that. But you know, Captain America went back in time and ended up with Peggy, right? So, did her niece, him fucking her niece, never happen? It happened. We still know it happened. But also at the same time, he went back in time and got with Peggy, so her husband never happened, right? There's a picture of her husband on her table before she dies in Civil War or uh, Winter Soldier, right? Winter Soldier. And he looks at it and it's a completely different dude. He had the stones. He couldn't went back and went to. He didn't go back to Valmir and see the Red Skull and was just cool with that shit. Ain't no way he got them stones and they just because in Multiverse of Madness, that train doesn't have the stone. Did he go back in time and get caught by the people in Loki? And that's the reason. That's one of the reasons why they call them damn stones. Did he go back in time and just put the stones in a bag in his fucking basement? Like they just in a case somewhere, and him and Peggy just living it up. Did he go back in time and this is what I think happened. I think he went back in time. The radio transmission ended, and he picked the radio. Hey, y'all, it's me, Captain America here. I didn't die. I'm good. I'm gonna meet you where we said we was gonna meet, Peggy. And she was like, oh, okay. And they just lived their life. And there was just a Captain America somewhere in ice, and nobody went to get his ass out. That's what I think of. I think in a future Marvel movie, if they want to, they can bring Captain America back because essentially Cap went and did what he was supposed to do. He won at the end of the first Avenger. He won. And there's the Captain America in ice. Just somewhere. And nobody thought his ass out. This video was all over the place and I love it. It was so chaotic. It was so crazy. Feel free to tell me how you like it. Tell me how wrong I am in the comments and I will argue with you about it. I'm gonna definitely probably post this to Twitter. If you think it's wrong and you see me on Twitter, say something. I'll acknowledge it. Thank y'all for watching this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. Definitely comment on this joint. I want to know. They didn't add the Netflix shows, and I wanted them to add them because I loved Luke Cage and Iron Fist. I wanted the Heroes for Hire to happen so bad. That's a whole nother video. I might do this again. I'm trying to get a series started called Let's Talk About It. Where I talk about my dog is right here. Y'all see his snout. Roxas, can you get down, buddy? Get down. Where I talk about stuff that I want to talk about. Stuff that interests me and interests y'all. So y'all be on the look for that. Let's talk about it. More stuff coming soon. And I will catch y'all in the next one. Later.